Hello and welcome to the first tutorial about how to draw a bridge in EG 1000. In the first step, you have to download some Guilderman profile, and after that you can start drawing. Now I'm going to draw the half a bridge on the right plane and then make a duplicate on the other side. I draw a center line which helps me to coordinate the spans of the bridge. I'm going to draw a bridge with 10 spans and each span has a length of 10 meters. Now I use linear pattern to make the replicas of these spans and set the distance is 10,000 millimeters. In the next step, I'm going to draw an arch to help me to coordinate. So from the middle point, I go down and draw an arch from one end to the other end of the bridge. After that, I can use Smart Dimension to set the height of the arch to be about 1 meter. That means the slope of the bridge is just only 2%, so people with wheelchair can go through. Now, I'm going to draw the line for each segment of the arch. You can still use the arch as a construction line for Guilderman later. However, it may cause some problem with the geometry, so my advice is to draw the line for each segment of the arch. When you finish drawing lines, you can delete the arch because you don't need it anymore. In the next step, hang on, I forgot to draw the line here, so I have to complete it. In the next step, I'm going to make a replicate for the rail on the top at a distance of 1500 millimeters. And I do it by y directions. And then I can select every line to make a replicate on the top. Now I need to draw the line to connect two rails. And after that, I can use mirror to duplicate the other half of the bridge. So I click on mirror and select all of the elements I want to duplicate. I have to remove something I don't need, such as the center line. Please be careful with selections. And I make a mirror about the middle line, but I have to remove the middle line first. And make a mirror about this line. Now you can see that I finished my half a bridge, and I just going to make the other half. I have to exit the sketch first. To copy to the other half, you must make a plane as a reference. And in the first reference, I select the right plane, which I used to draw before. I can change the view to trimetric to have a better view. And the distance from the original plane should be about 6 meters. Now I click on the sketch and copy copy it and paste to the new plane by Ctrl C and Ctrl V. Now it's time to make a 3D drawing to draw the line that connect two halves of the sketch. Please be careful in selections, because if you do it wrong, you may have to redraw the whole bridge later. If you feel that you have done something wrong, please do not hesitate to delete and redraw it. A good tip is that if you draw a line across another, the cross point must appear on the screen like this. And now I think this is enough for drafting. In the next step, we are going to assign some weldment profile to the lines. So I have to save it first because my software may crash sooner or later. Now I'm going to use the weldment. If you couldn't find it, you can right click and find the weldment. Now I can assign some weldment profile by click on the structural members and select the cross sections I want. For the rail, I have to use some big cross section profile because it's the main part of the bridge. When you change the plane of cross section, you have to create a new group. Please be very careful with the selection, because if you select the wrong thing, you may have to redraw it. Now, after I finish, I just green tick it and try to assign different cross-section profile to other beams. So for other connections, I use just only 300 cross-section profile. And I have to create a new group if I change the cross-section plane. Please do not forget to create the vertical beams which work as suspenders. You may have to zoom in or zoom out, and please be very careful with the green tick on the top. If you click on it, you may exit the command. So have to assign a new one. Please move or zoom if you want to avoid it. And I think that's enough for drafting. Now it's time to make simulations. So you move to simulation and create a new study. We create a new study of statics. There are a lot of options, but statics is the right one for civil engineering structure. And it may have a time to make some analysis on the joints and the geometry. In the first step, I'm going to fix some support. So I click on the joint I want to fix it. You may have some intermediate support, so you can click at the middle of the bridge. And now I assign the gravity, and please ensure that it goes by the right directions, and apply the material to the beam. In the last step, I'm going to assign some force. Because the bridge must sustain 100 tons of load, So I'm going to create on the joint the load of 10 tones on expand, so it will be 100 tone in total. And I select it should be normal to the surface and enter 100,000 Newton, that is more than 10 tones. And select the surface, the load must be perpendicular to. So you can see the load on the bridge, and I think that is, I can run the simulation. And here is a result. If you right click on the displacement, you can edit the definition and change the scale of deformation to be true scale. Normally, the deformation is exaggerated to easily detect the tiny deformation. But here, we already have a big deformation, so we can see this. So you can see that the maximum displacement is about more than 1 meter, but it doesn't go further down more than 5 centimeters at the middle span. So the displacement is big, but it's acceptable for this tutorial. In reality, the displacement is much smaller because you can have to add up some intermediate support or change a bigger cross-section profile. Thank you very much for your time and see you in the next tutorial.